Hey guys, welcome to 12 Tone. Today we're going to talk about dynamics and articulation. Now, as you probably already know, music is a lot more than just the notes and chords that you play. How you play them has a huge impact on the listener's reaction. Dynamics and articulations, along with timbre, which we're not covering today, make up most of what I like to think of as the sound of the note. Dynamics at their core are just how loud you're playing. At the most basic level, we break this into two categories: piano, meaning quiet, and forte, which means loud. We notate these with a little P and F respectively. If you want your part to be kind of quiet or just a little loud, you put an M in front of it for mezzo. Mezzo piano and mezzo forte are extra little gradations between our primary dynamic classes. But if you want to go really loud or soft, you double up the letter for fortissimo or pianissimo. You can even keep doing this indefinitely, and there are pieces written in fortissimo, but for the most part these six get the job done just fine. But what if we want to change dynamics in the middle of the piece? Well, there are a couple ways to do this. The first is the crescendo or decrescendo, where things get louder or softer gradually. This could be a couple beats or even a few bars. For this, all you have to do is put a little alligator-looking thing underneath the area where you want it to change and add the target dynamic you're going to at the end. The tip of the cymbal should always point towards the quieter side. If you want things to be less gradual, you can just put the dynamic marking by itself. That'll say when we get here, switch to this dynamic. However, often players will anticipate a dynamic change in the beat or two beforehand, so if you really don't want that, you can write subito, meaning suddenly. This isn't that commonly used these days though, so be prepared to explain it. And if you want them to get loud for just one attack, then go back to the previous dynamic, you can use a sforzando or accent. This is a little arrow that goes above or below the note. Yeah, I know it looks like a little decrescendo mark. Sorry if that's confusing. But while dynamics are the volume and strength of the sound, articulation is the length. There are three basic types of articulation. The first and most obvious is that notes are struck and held for the exact amount of time that their notation value implies. This is what we've been doing so far. Things work the way they say they do. This articulation is technically known as tenuto, and if you have to mark it, it's done like this. The second major articulation is staccato. Staccato attacks are notated with a little dot, and they sound short. Technically, they're supposed to be half the notated value, so if you saw a quarter note with a staccato marking, you'd play an eighth note, but in modern usage, the main thing is just that they're short and bouncy. So if you were to take our tenuto melody from before and make all the notes staccato, it would sound like this. Staccato gives things a funky, jagged, high-energy feel and is great when you want your listener paying attention to every single note. The last of the primary dynamics is legato. Legato means that the notes flow into each other smoothly, giving it a loose, floating feel. In a legato section, you'll hear many notes played with a single attack. Legato can be hard on instruments like piano, where each note requires a new hit, but on things like strings, winds, or guitars, you can get a lot of notes in without reinitializing the sound. Legato is notated with these long, sweeping slurs that say that all these notes should be played in a single attack. By the way, in modern parlance, sometimes people will use legato to mean tenuto and slur to mean legato, so be careful of that. And those are dynamics and articulations. Try the exercises, join our mailing list for scans of all our episodes, and keep on rockin'.